to the She's a 10 times 5 show with hosts Lori Jabbar and Michelle Emick. We're bringing public figures, subject matter experts, and other accomplished guests to the Studio 50 table to serve you up the best tips, tricks, and key takeaways that all us midlifers want to know about. Okay, time to join us for some times 5 fun. Let's go. Hey everyone, welcome to the quad. I am Lori and I have my pal Randy.
Hey.
Notice I didn't call you the Crawdaddy Crawford.
I did.
I'm evolving. I'm trying to become much more sophisticated, much like our recurring guest in the bottom segment with all the smiley faces, our resident comedian, Jennifer Arundel.
Hello.
Hello.
You.
Okay, and we have our girl back. She was off the grid, and we're going to actually talk about it today because, you know, she gleaned a few things, life lessons on her vacay. We have Michelle back. Hey, Michelle.
Hello. Happy to be back.
Happy to be back. Really?
I am.
Don't
I
lie
missed
to
you
us.
guys.
We missed you too. It took everything within my power not to call you twice a day, but I
You
didn't.
did.
I left you alone. Are you proud of me?
You did. And I appreciated it.
I know.
I needed to step away from the world.
I know, and you look so beautiful and refreshed. I love it.
I feel better.
Okay, so we are going to chop up some kind of fun and summertime topics today. We're going to talk Pickleball Mania. We're going to talk about travel because everyone seems to be packing their bags and getting the hell out of Dodge these days. And then we're going to talk about something that Michelle did on her vacay, which was get off the grid and i.e. off of social media. Yeah. But first, and as I'm coming off the pickleball court, so this is very apropos. So we want to first talk about a little bit, just rehash and get thoughts on our last week's guest, Jake San Miguel, a.k.a. Baby Gronk Daddo. All right, Randy, I'm going to start with you. What were your thoughts after the interview?
Yeah, I've had a lot of thoughts. I mean, nothing at all like I expected. I got a lot of feedback from a lot of people that were very surprised by the interview, and they really liked the dad. And I even sent him this message. I said, "Listen, I did a post. I said, is this guy certifiable or is he genius? I really think that you are a marketing machine." But a lot of people called me and said, like, you were trying to get the ingredients to the secret soup and you didn't get the ingredients, you know? And I said, well, he wasn't going to give that up. But I learned from him because I wanted to understand how he built that platform, was stay in your lane. So, you know, and he made it clear. So I went on there thinking like, this guy is such a nut job. His kid plays one sport, you know, all the preconceptions you come in with. And we learned, which I thought was beautiful, that none of that is true. And he was very open about it. And I loved it. Like, no, my kid plays 5 sports. My kid is a straight A student. My kid has friends and chills out and plays video games. And so I thought he was pretty open with us. But I still wish, and I still do wish, we'd get more of but how the hell did you do it? Because it still is amazing that baby Gronk has more followers than the real Gronk.
Yeah. Well, I think he did give us some of that. I mean, he kind of uses, you know, clickbait and therefore gets up in the algorithms, which drives some things. And I think his lane is very, very strong, and it's hate. It's attracting the haters. And, you know, Randy, one of the things that I was laughing about with my 2 boys is, you know, the whole 5'8", you know, which is not true, or at least he told us, you know, he's actually 6 foot-ish. And so I think he's been very, very wily about using certain language and certain things that really kind of poke the social media bear. And that's how he's built this big platform. Jennifer, what do you think?
Yeah, I think that he's kind of like the National Enquirer of promotion. If it bleeds, it leads. I mean, all of his headlines are just so their distractions and their misdirects. And, I think that gets eyeballs, and he's figured that out, to say that your kid is suspended for gambling. I mean, people are
Yeah,
going to
that was a couple days ago. That was a good one.
what are you
Yeah.
talking about? I mean, I read it. He's going to be a varsity player in 6th grade. No, he's not. He comes out of retirement. It's just it's
Yeah.
it's putting kerosene on a fire, and that's what he does every day. And it gets a ton of notice, and it gets a ton of follows, and it makes people really get eyeballs on it.
Yeah.
Not as many as I have around me, but
Yeah. Okay, Michelle, you are kind of a fly on the wall on this one. And you actually leaned into the live broadcast of it. What are your thoughts?
Yeah, I did. I didn't know when you said this was going to be the guest, I had no idea who you were talking about. I thought that I didn't know anything, but I thought he was very transparent and open. And that's always something to me I like, whether you like the guy or don't. I mean, he kept it real. My 11-year-old knew exactly who it was and was like snapshotting picture. And she was like, oh my God, telling all of her friends. She was like so excited. So I thought that was funny. It was cute. And then she was like, I told Lori, I told you this. She was like, next time, can I ask the questions? And I mean, to the son, to the baby Gronk, which made me laugh because she was like, I had some specific questions. One of them was his Fortnite username. She really wanted to know, but I said, I don't think he's.
Oh, she wasn't the only one. We got several of those.
Yeah.
Yes. Well, it was kind of cute because I think you're absolutely right, Michelle, and that, I didn't really know until Randy brought it to my attention. And then it's like, I couldn't take my eyes off the dumpster fire. And I definitely had preconceived notions going into this interview, but boy, the kids really know who this dude is. And my son, the youngest, came up to the studio while we were live streaming, and he thought it was so great when baby Gronk came on. He's like, oh my God, there he is.
She was snapping. She had her phone and she was snapping pictures of me.
He's a celebrity. I mean, this kid is a celebrity.
Yeah. So it just goes to show, I mean, listen, whatever they're doing is working. The kids like it. I resonated with what he was saying. I know, again, the kids love the whole gaming. So the fact that he was going in that direction to monetize, I think is smart. I know, again, my daughter watches these shows. It's watching other people game, other kids game. That's what they watch. And they make, multi-millions of dollars. So why shouldn't he go into that lane?
Yeah. Okay, I'll leave it with my 2 cents on him. I did, like, as I just said, went in with preconceived notions, ready to fire the guy up. And I was a little intimidated because I heard some stuff. Randy, you and I talked. My kids were a little bit like, hey, you got to watch out. This guy he'll poke right back. And so I was initially, I think, a little bit walking on eggshells, so to speak, watching what I was saying because I didn't want to go in that direction and be on my heels. But he was a really nice guy. And look, there's so many parents out there that are making money off of their kids and social media, but they don't own up to it. It's smoke and mirrors, but we all know this guy at least was honest. I mean, I
don't think he lifted the hood like Randy said, but he opened it and he shared a bit.
Yeah. I mean, I think he owned his shit and owned what he does and what he was trying to do. And I loved having that little guy come on. He was adorable and he seemed like a normal kid. We got a few smiles out of him. Mm-hmm. Apparently he's afraid of chihuahuas. Anyway, so I thought it was a great interview. If you haven't watched or listened, I would, because it is kind of this new interesting phenomenon that's going on with him. All right. Are we ready for today's topics?
Yeah. Let's go.
Okay, this is great. And Randy is one of my pickleball people. We are going to talk pickleball. And this is kind of we all kind of talk about and then discuss prehand what we want to chop up in the quad. This one was mine. And the reason being is not because I pickleball. I am obsessed. It's just this thing has become Pickleball Mania. Is that the best way to say it? Did I say it right? I know. See, I'm tired from pickleball, so my brain is not snapping. And not just that, but it's an industry now. I have friends that are starting clothing lines, vacations, pickleball retreats. I want to talk about it because I don't know how this lifted off so quickly. It kind of started in COVID, I think. But boy, it is everywhere. You can't even get a tennis court anymore because they've all been converted to pickleball courts. So, all right, Randy, I'm going to start again with you.
Okay.
What's your thoughts on this, like Pickleball Mania?
Well, I actually have a couple thoughts. I didn't like deep dive in my brain like I normally do before a show because I thought I would just, talk from experience. I find the whole pickleball mania to be interesting because it's definitely shown like a couple different sides of your friends, right? Like there are, if I may, there are the people who started playing this during COVID, and they took it very seriously, and they started playing and playing some more and playing so much that they're now literally like, out and about going to freaking tournaments in Palm Springs and whatnot, and then you have the groups of women that just started playing and getting themselves in with all sorts of groups. And the next thing they know, they found themselves playing every single day, multiple times a day. And then you have, the people like me that play maybe once a week. And you want to be competitive and you want to be good, but you feel limited because you feel like that second set of friends that they've gotten so good that when they want to bring you in as a sub, you're horrified because you don't want to be that sub, that idiot that can't get her serve in, that can't remember how to keep the score, that hits it into the net every time. So it's a very interesting game. I mean, I absolutely positively love it. I wish I did play more, but I just think it's funny because a lot of people say like, no, I just play for fun. And I've played with those same people.
And then you call them up and they're at lessons, pickleball lessons. Yeah.
And I've seen the eye rolls and I've seen it all. So, it's very interesting to me what it brings out in people. But I think it is one of the best things that has happened for like socialization, where you don't want to necessarily go out drinking. You're like me and you just don't want to go out and take hikes. Hiking is not my thing. You want to go out and play pickleball. Like, I'm your girl. So fun.
Yeah. Well, I think one of the things I thought about this is the barrier of entry or to entry with pickleball is low. So you can kind of pick up a paddle and go out and hit the ball. It's not like tennis. Tennis has a level of difficulty that is significantly higher as far as getting decent at it. I think you can get decent at pickleball rather quickly. But you're absolutely right. Like people are pickling like crazy and getting really, really good. And I got to tell you, and like we've talked about this before, don't let that 70-year-old with the knee brace fool you, because she will work your ass on the court and, completely demoralize you. I agree with you, Randy, and I'm gonna throw it over to you, Jennifer. It brings out some of the best and worst things in people. And I'm here to tell you, you get on the court with some of these broads or guys, and their competitive juices come out in a way that you're like, whoa. And then you've got the people that just like to bring the charcuterie and the wine and kind of play and then have a sip and then play some more. So it's kind of interesting. You get to see some of the other sides of people with pickleball. All right, Jennifer, thoughts?
My thoughts are thusly. Cornhole is my game, actually. I think I have the skill level for pickleball. I avoid it at all costs. I am a gherkin, if you will. And because I don't really play, I wrote a few little jokes for you all to use on the court. You can try them out. What do you call a silly pickleball player?
I don't know.
A cornichon.
Oh my God. A what?
A cornichon.
A cornish?
Okay, come on. You don't know what a cornichon?
No, you totally lost me. Look, I'm going to give you one of these. I'm going to give you this.
I'll tell you what, it's on that charcuterie board that you just talked about.
Okay.
It's a small pickle. They're French. They're
called... yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Well,
we call those micro dicks.
So yeah, I have played twice. I played in Rancho La Puerta, and it was very fun. And then I played one more time, and then I hurt myself. So then I quit.
Well, that's the other thing is causes a lot of injuries. And I had a lady yell at me the other day because I would not go for a backhand down the line. She's like, you got to go for those. And I'm like, no way. I've seen so many people have pickleball related injuries. And there's a term for it, right, Randy? For the pickleball injuries? No?
No, I don't know, but they happen all the time.
What's the most common one? Is it arms or legs?
I think the elbow, I think wrist, ankle. A lot of people sprain their ankles. Yeah. All right,
roll their
Michelle.
ankles, yeah.
What?
Cornhole.
Cornhole. All right, there you go. Michelle, you don't play. What do you have any thoughts on it? And are you going to start?
I've never played. I love I can visualize you guys playing, and I think that it sounds fun because obviously, like I said, it's the socialization part of it. I'm very competitive, so I know that if I started, I would be the one taking lessons and then be like, I would have to be, I'd have to up my game. Like I couldn't just play like once in a while because that wouldn't work. But yeah, I don't know a lot about it. I think that I was looking it up and then I started watching some videos and it was making me laugh. It looks pretty, I don't want to say easy, but I'm sure it's not, but like, it looks like it's pretty easy for people to pick up, I guess, and get started. But what I thought was interesting was when I was reading about it, they said there's a new sport that's coming behind it. Cause right, there's always the latest and greatest. And the new one, I wrote it down, is called paddle, Padel. And they said it's a combination of tennis, squash, and pickleball. And that's like the latest and greatest coming out. They said right now they've got 10 million players out there. So I was like, it's always the what's next.
Yeah. Okay, Randy, now's our chance. Let's become dominant at paddle.
Well, here's what I think we should talk about, though, with pickleball. We have to circle back around to this thing called open play. Because open play, I'm going to tell you, my very first experience with open play was like 2 years ago, maybe a year and a half ago. I was playing with some friends. We had just started. And they said, oh, I'm a member of this club. Let's go on Friday, try this thing called open play. None of us knew what it was. And, when you don't know, that's a better way to go into something. And of course, I'm a Virgo. I'm there 15 minutes before my friends. So I get there, pay my money. I walk onto the court and there's like a group of people, and they're all putting on the sunblock. And, I start asking questions like I do, like, hey, what is open play? What am I supposed to do? What happens here? And, they're answering my questions and they're pretty nice. But after their block is on and everything, this whole group of people that clearly knew I was brand new, they all walk away from me and like start a game. So I'm sort of standing there feeling like a big ass. And I'm like, God, this is so awkward. So I walk back out to the parking lot as my friend pulls up and she pulls up and I'm like, oh, thank God. I have a friend in crime. She comes up, we walk back onto the courts. She now starts applying her sunblock. A few more people walk up and say, we need a fourth. And said friend walks over, starts playing with them. And again, I'm feeling like I am in 7th grade, you guys, and like they're picking teams and I have not been picked. And in my life, I will never forget. I literally pick up my bag like a child, like a baby. I like almost run off the court, run to my car. Everyone is looking at me through the gate and they're like, where are you going? And I was like, oh no, don't worry about it. I just have something else going on. I forgot. So then the pro arrives and he says to my next friend who arrives, oh, Randy just left. She already paid. You can just use her, So this becomes a joke. My friends start calling me and they're like, what the hell was that? And I'm like, I don't know. I have never felt so uncomfortable. Worst thing that's ever happened to me in my life. I didn't know what I was doing. Nobody asked me to play. And they're like, Randy, they come every week. They know each other. They were just like going out to play. But personally, it's like I was scarred from that, and getting me back into an open play is literally going to take like a serious act of God. This happened almost 2 years ago, and it's a feeling I'll never forget. But you guys, it's scary.
You know what I was thinking when you were saying that? It reminded me, I remember years ago, I decided to go to
you need therapy, Randy.
I tried CrossFit, and I got there and it was like, I hate to use the word cult, but like I felt like a fish out of water, and they were like, okay, pair up, and everybody went to their pairs, and there I was, and I felt like, and I was like, okay, I've never been like the not cool kid, but like nobody wants to pair with me. And so I felt like such an outsider, and it was so cliquey. I actually went up to the owner and I was like, listen, just recommendation for new people coming in. Like if you want members, you gotta do something that's going to kind of divide this up. So when you were talking about it, it was making me think about that. And that with socialization and a competitive sport, I imagine there's a lot of conversation like, maybe they don't want this one on the team, or it becomes a little cliquey.
Yeah, it can. That's a fact. That's a good point, Randy.
I could totally see that.
Yeah, I think all the mean girls from tennis
Yeah.
are now playing pickleball. Because when I was with the tennis club, I experienced that a lot. They were just so mean, so competitive. If you weren't good, they got mad at you.
You didn't have the outfit on. I know.
No,
I bet you everybody is in their full pickleball
Oh yeah.
gear.
No.
Yep, I love it. I love my little pickleball skirts. Yeah, that is a fact about the competitiveness when, especially if you're an ex-tennis player. And I don't know, the way I look at it is it's pickleball. I mean, just the name in and of itself is just sounds fun. Like, let's keep it fun. Yeah. My pet peeve, honestly, is not the overly competitive, although, Randy and I have conversations about pickleball all the time. It's the scoring is it's like new math. If you had a kid that learned new math, it's like that. The scoring is rather difficult. However, if you played more than 5 times and you cannot keep score, that's my pet peeve.
Yeah.
Ugh. Yeah. You run into.
Yeah. It started in Seattle, right? In 1965.
I didn't know Seattle.
College.
Yeah, I got some factoids for you. So yeah, 3 dads on Bainbridge Island were trying to think up some games for their kids to play. So they had a smaller space, so they came up with pickleball.
Yeah. Well, I know they named it after their dog, Pickle.
Well, by the way, it makes sense that a man came up with this game, because I don't care what you say, Lori, that scoring is some bullshit. It's complicated. And for my menopausal brain, I'm sorry, I can count to 11, but it's like all the different servers in between. That stuff gets complicated. And so now this really makes sense to me. Thank you.
You're scaring me, Randy. That sounds like,
scoring is not that easy.
I'm always like, let's just rally.
Yeah, let's just go back and forth.
No scoring.
Well,
we each have fun.
If you haven't tried pickleball, I think it's a really fun way to get out and move your body. And it's a good workout, especially if you're playing at a high level. And it's also something you can do with your kids, so I
think it's great, but I'm going to rally and start playing paddleball.
All right, get good. And all right. Okay, cool. Gang, it's summertime. And not only are we all going to be pickling, a lot of us are going to be traveling. And my son, my oldest, his graduation gift with about 14 other of his BFFs from his college hit the trek in Europe, and they went everywhere. And so it got me thinking about where I'd like to go and bucket list travel things. And oh gosh, my air just came on and it sounds like a tsunami in my headset. Michelle, I'm gonna start with you. You just came off vacation. Let's talk about it and where we want to go next, and where are the hidden little gems out there that we need to tackle.
Oh, well, I'm not giving away my hidden gem because we've already said, like, too many people found out about it. So we like to keep it. It's this very small beach town. But in terms of bucket list, I would love to do one of those train trips, like around, like the train goes through Switzerland and, Lake Como and all those different places. I would love to do one of those. There's so many places that I haven't been. I used to travel a lot. And then when I had my daughter, I kind of stopped doing trips too far away. So I have yet to be, I know it maybe sounds embarrassing. Some people are like, what, you've never been there? But I've never been to London or Paris. And that is like my number one. And several times I've been close to going and something's happened. So my niece that's supposed to be a graduation from college trip. Hopefully we're going to take that next year.
Okay. So you want to hit the Euro pass is what I'm hearing.
Yeah. I mean, I've been to some places in Europe, but I want to see the Eiffel Tower. I know that sounds like a lot of people, like I said, have been there, but I have not. So I
Yeah.
want to do
Okay, Randy, what about you? You got a bitchin' trip coming up. Lay it on us.
Well, I'll tell you though, I think more interesting than my trip is like what we're all facing right now, which is, your kids are in college and maybe on the quarter system and get out really late and start really late. Or, you have one kid that's still in school and one kid that's working. And I think what's really interesting is I didn't know we were talking about travel, but when our kids were little, we went over to Europe a lot, and people would always say, like, why are you doing that? They're so young. And we're like, because you learn life lessons, man. You get on a plane and people eat differently and they smell differently and they behave differently. And I'm really pleased that we got to do that, because now that they're older, we've not been able to travel as a family of 4 in a really long time, even as much as our annual trip to Colorado skiing last year, because we had just gone to Italy with our daughter, and then she was unable to take any more time off work. And so to me, it's just, as I hear you say bucket list, like what goes through my head, like Michelle is talking about London, my bucket list is that the 4 of us in our house get to go away somewhere spectacular next year. Because to me, it's just all about being with family. And it's so freaking hard with everyone's schedules as they get older. And it really breaks my heart.
Yeah. I would agree with that. And I don't know if you guys have this dynamic, but I have the dynamic that I very, very social kids. And so when we suggest a trip, it's like, well, which friends can I bring?
Oh my
I don't
God.
know if you guys get that as well.
Yes, we just got back from that. There was 10 of us at a beach house, and then the kids, my nieces and nephews, like it's like so-and-so's coming down, and then these 3 friends, and the next thing you know, you got a freaking house party going on.
Okay, Jennifer, lay it on us. What
Okay.
say you about this topic?
Well, I think I've been super lucky, and I've had some great trips recently with the whole family last summer and this summer. And my latest discovery for the family, which makes traveling so much more enjoyable than just getting on, a walking tour or a bus tour, is we do bike tours. So we just did a bike tour, and it sounds like we're super athletic, but we all had electric assist bikes. Made it super pleasurable. You were never like, oh God, I don't want to climb that mountain. So we started in Prague, and we rode our bikes through the countryside and saw castles and dairy farms and just people living their lives in foreign countries. From Prague all the way to Vienna. And it was just amazing. And it was all planned. And my family, I'm just shocked that kids still want to go with us. So we were really lucky, and they do get out at the same time. But I could totally see, Randy, like when your kids are not on the same schedule, it must be really hard, and you have to, pick and choose. So we were really lucky with that trip this year and really enjoyed it. And my bucket list personally, I've been wanting to do it forever, is I wanted to climb Machu Picchu at some point. I think that would be super interesting. I've never really been to South America. So that's kind of what I was thinking about trying to put together for myself before they close it up. It's kind of crumbling, and there's been some unrest lately as well, but those are kind of my things. And I was going to bring my llama, but I couldn't find him. So I brought my donkey instead today. Got wings.
He's an angel donkey.
He's an angel donkey.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
well, you know what? I thought about this. One of the things I would really, really love to do, and this is where we're going to talk about social media. This is where social media is really neat, is you kind of get to be a fly in the wall with your friends when they travel. And I've had like a small handful of friends that have done a safari with their kids. That to me is something that I 100% want to tackle at some point soon.
Yeah.
But I'm going to throw this at you, and I don't know how you feel about it. Part of me is a little bit, and I don't know if it's COVID hangover or the pandemic hangover, traveling far distances and getting on an airplane and going through all of that. Sometimes it's like, oh my God, that seems like I live in San Diego. It's beautiful here. Well, now it is. We had a really rough winter, but part of me is like, why would I want to travel? I get the beach 5 minutes away. I've got my pickleball courts. I live in a golf course community. So it's hard for me to actually get motivated to go places, and get on that airplane and pack the bags and live out of a suitcase, unless it's something fantastical like, a safari or something. And then I have a little bit of fear. You said unrest. I don't know. I really want to tackle Asia. I really want to kind of go see that part of the world. I lived in Germany for 6 years, so I've gotten to see all of Europe. It's fabulous, but I really haven't done anything extraordinarily exotic. But I'm kind of afraid to go. I'm not gonna lie. Anyone else feel that way? Some of it kind of worries me.
Yeah. No, absolutely. And I'm like that too. I've gotten to the point now, I'm like, unless it's a direct flight, I'm probably not going. So bad.
That, especially with all the cancellations. And I
Yeah.
have finally, even though my husband for years is always like, why do you bring so much stuff with you? That suitcase is enormous. And I have to say, I have found the joy in a carry-on.
Yeah, there's
Only.
ways you can carry on if you're really savvy. Like you
Yeah.
put stuff in your shoes and
Yes.
whatnot. Yeah. Yeah.
It's nice not to have too much stuff to haul around, that's for sure. But yeah, I mean, I'm not afraid, but we also have a motivational factor. My husband's mother lives in London, so it makes kind of an impetus to go that direction. So we kind of have an obligation, and then we just fill it with fun around it. So yeah,
Love it.
yeah.
Okay, so we got safari, we've got and you didn't talk about your trip, Randy. You're heading to
Yeah, where are you going?
Tel Aviv and Jerusalem soon.
Ooh.
Well, so we like to go like in November. I'm not a summer traveler, so I'll definitely put that out there. I don't have fear when I'm traveling, but I don't want to travel with 8 million people. Years ago, we ended up on a cruise, by the way. I was I'm not gonna say forced, but I did not want to go. And I was reinforced about how much I'm not a cruise person when I took this cruise. I mean, oh my God. And then think about COVID and everyone that got stuck. I would literally put a knife in my eye. But we did take a cruise, and I just remember being in Turkey and Greece, and we were so hot. I think we like threw everything out or left it on the cruise. It's just summer travel to me. It's way too hot and I can't do it. And I'm very spoiled like that. So since we now no longer worry about traveling with the kids, we travel in November, and we're going to take a pretty insane trip to Israel in the fall and see absolutely positively everything about there's just nothing that my husband missed. I think in his next life he could very easily be a travel agent.
That's great.
Yeah, I feel
That's
like that
awesome.
too with my husband, and he really enjoys planning all of
Yeah.
the trips. Yeah, I'm with you on summer travel. I'm also with you on I don't like to do holiday travel. I think it's a military thing because we
Yeah.
all as I'm ex-military, but that's when we traveled. And so the harangue of all of the crowds and everything, I'm with you. I like to stay home during the holidays and travel off season for sure.
Yeah.
For sure.
Off season. That's the word I was looking for.
Yeah,
I'm leaving on Thursday. I'm going to New York, and I'm doing all the things, taking my little one, and I'm doing all the things I never did when I lived there in the city. I never saw the Statue of Liberty. I lived there. I was too busy out at the bars. Never went to Empire State Building, like none of those things. So we're doing all those things, kind of touristy stuff.
fun.
Yeah.
Okay, final topic, and it goes into the whole vacay mode, is taking a vacation from social media. Let's go, Michelle.
Yeah, I don't know if it was 3 or 4 weeks ago, I did a TV segment here in Tampa, and the topic was a time suck. And they had asked me to give recommendations, like things that cause a time suck. So I go into this about social media and then tips on how to do it. And I'm laughing because as I'm walking to my car, I'm like, I don't do any of those tips that I just gave. I'm like, so I'm going to implement those. And so I shut down from social media, all technology, and no emails, the big one for me, and what I did was I recommended to people to go into your settings on your phone and look at how much time you spend on social platforms. And I was embarrassed because the average person spends 2 hours a day on social media, which is a lot. Mine was like triple that. And I was just like, oh my God, I'm so ashamed. So that was a wake-up call for me. I now gone in and you can set timers for how much time. So I'm giving myself like 30 minutes tops on all platforms, but I was spending so much time on LinkedIn and Instagram and Facebook and just kind of falling down that rabbit hole of scrolling, not even realizing I'd be sitting on the couch, watching TV at night and scrolling, or sitting in bed scrolling. And so it was really a wake up call. And what I realized is how much time I was really, involved in other people's lives and not in my own and the people around me. And I also it was interesting to observe everyone else around me because I didn't have my phone and I'm looking around and everyone else is just, hitting that scroll all the time. I didn't bring it to the beach with me, nothing. And it was amazing. And I loved it. And I feel way more energized, more connected, and which seems like the opposite, right? But I'm more connected to myself and the people around me, and it's something I'm going to continue to implement. So I would just encourage everyone to go in, look at your settings, look in your phone to see how much time that you spend, and maybe reevaluate. That's what I did, and I'm glad I did it.
Yeah, Michelle, you and I have talked about this because you were intentional about your break because you knew you needed to get off the grid, as I keep calling it that. But that's exactly what you did. I told you that I'm not a huge social media person. I go in and comment on the She's a 10 posts, and then I get the fuck out. And I don't have a huge following on my personal, and I've made it even smaller because I had a weird, creepy guy that wanted me to introduce him to Danny DeVito. But I don't do the feed. But what I have noticed since you kind of did your journey is, as a family, we are like very video, like we like to share videos. And so I'll get videos from people and my kids will get videos. And so indirectly, we're spending time on social media because 90% of these videos come from someone's social media, TikTok, Instagram account.
And it's entertaining. It's entertaining. I mean, I get it. But when you just keep going and the next one's entertaining and the next one, and then, before you know it. But I would tell everyone, go in, look at your phone and really see how much, I think you'll be shocked because you'll think like, well, I'm not really on it. But then when you see the numbers, you're like, oh, but I am. So.
Okay, Randy, what's your thoughts? And you deal with girls and their parents, and a lot of what you deal with is has ancillary effects on them, the social media aspects. What's your perspective and lens?
Well, Michelle said it, I think, as well as you possibly can. I mean, the only thing I tell people, because you can't tell a young person, don't get on social media. It's in fact not social, because social media really isn't social. To me, the more social media, the more isolation. And it's just very sad to me because it's only getting worse, and with AI and everything. But that being said, what Michelle just said is exactly what I tell people. You got to do an audit and see how much time you're spending. And then don't shame yourself and be like, God, all I do is live on social media. Then what you need to do is have agency over that social media, and you try and control it. Don't let it control you. And if you let a young person know you are in control, you can control this, they are going to feel better than saying to a young person, you really shouldn't be on social media so much, or you should really only do it X amount of minutes a day. So then again, as Michelle said, you give them suggestions. Like there are apps that you can download on your phone that really called Habit Tracker and all sorts of things that will help them to minimize the amount of time that they're really on there. And, I just read a story this morning. I don't know if it's real or not, but it was saying that Mark Zuckerberg, they're working on like a little thing that comes onto your phone for the kids that are scrolling all night. It'll know when you're on there at night, and it'll say like, hey, maybe it's time to put your phone away. If that really is true and really going to happen, God bless, because that is how a lot of kids lose a lot of sleep. And so, a funny story is when I went to watch my daughter graduate from Villanova about a year ago, I accidentally left my phone at home because I was trying to get an Uber first at like 4 a.m, and it was going to cost me over $100. It made me so mad. I left my phone by my vitamins, and my husband and I decided to drive, and he was rushing me. So we get halfway to the airport and I don't have my phone, and I'm going to be gone for about 8 days on the East Coast without a phone. I had a straight panic attack on that drive to the airport. I can't even explain it to you. And I will tell you that it is so freeing. It's freeing. It's like, that's the only word I can tell you when you don't feel obligated. Now, Michael had a phone, so he could coordinate all the plans. And I was just like hands free. It was amazing. So, you come back and you're just like, yep, there's my phone on the counter where I left it. I did not run over to go pick it up. I wasn't dying to see it. because it's so refreshing to do that like digital detox. But that's a little too extreme. I don't even recommend that to people as well. But you realize when you are not on your phone and you actually pick up the phone and call someone, or you go out and you meet them, or you go do a workout outside, or you take a walk, or you do anything other than scrolling, you feel so much better.
Yeah, one of the things that over the past few years, I do put my phone away. I think that we went through a period once especially as moms, where we felt like we had to, because we had it on our device, that camera, which you remember, like when Randy, and I don't know about Jennifer, I know this is not the case for you, Michelle, but when my kids were young, if you did everything on a camcorder, now you have it on your phone so you can capture everything. And I think we felt like we had to get every single photo, whether we were at lunch with friends or whether we were on a hike and then that led us to, well, now we got to do something with the videos and photos. I have lost complete interest in, maybe it's because I've gotten older, but I just don't, I want to be in the moment with my kids. I mean, yes, graduation is a time where you want to get the video and the key shots and whatnot. But now it's kind of like, I don't feel that intense, like, I don't want to say pressure, but drive to try to record everything. And I want to be there. Like, we played pickleballs. We did a family tournament this weekend and I had my phone put away because I just wanted to be in the moment with my kids and my friends. All right, Jennifer, what do you say?
Well, I think I have a lot of nostalgia for what I would call the good old days when there weren't any phones. And you really notice it out in public places, in particular, kind of getting back to the whole traveling motif. I'm sure you've all noticed when in the 80s, when you would go to the airport and you were traveling somewhere, the place to be was in the cocktail lounge. And it was humming and buzzing and people were talking to each other. You'd meet new friends from all over the world. This lady just got back from Egypt. She told me how her glasses cracked because it was the difference in temperature from outside to inside was so great that it shattered her glasses. You would never have to get that kind of interaction today because everybody is on their phones and nobody is talking to one another. And I just find it so sad for so many, of our, today's youth, that they don't have that type of opportunity to go outside your comfort box, to, speak to other people, to really connect on a human level. And so you're just left with, swirling through Instagram, seeing what other people are doing or posting your selfies or what have you. And, and more so than that is seeing moms today with their kids in strollers or at the park. They're paying no attention to them. You're saying taking pictures, but I see a lot more of the moms self-involved in what's happening on Instagram, not talking to their children, not interacting, not pointing out the flowers. Honestly, it kind of breaks my heart, like, this is you guys, your kids are going to be little for such a short amount of time. And you're like on your freaking Bluetooth talking to who knows what about who knows, what, and you got nothing.
Right.
So what gets me is, and I think we've become numb to it, is people walk and they're on their fucking phones. Sometimes I get so annoyed because I'm like, that person's going to walk right into me because they can't even walk from point A to B without looking at their damn phones.
Right. It's not just walking. It's at the stores. It's at, don't even get me started when they
stop
in
the middle of an aisle. Talking in the checkout line loudly. People that are helping them, being rude.
It's this constant need of connection. And again, as we said, it's like the opposite of what it's actually doing.
Yeah.
And again, I'm not saying it against it because I can put myself in that. Everything for me was like work, one more email or one more person and then I realized, for what? Like, I'm missing what's in front of me and I don't want to be this person. I need to break from this. And so, yeah.
Well, Jennifer,
sorry.
You were talking about traveling and it reminded me. So when we were coming back from this graduation, we got our plane, for whatever reason, it got stuck and we had to get on a new plane that stopped in Phoenix. And I'm walking through the airport in Phoenix, which I don't know if you guys have been there, but as I'm walking, if I'd had my phone, I most likely, I'm going to be honest, would have been scrolling, but my husband and I were walking from the gate to go get coffee to get on our next flight. And right in front of me in my walking path was a big bunch of dog shit. And I'm telling you, I would have walked into that if I was, because I would have had my phone. I would have walked into it and it was right in front of the coffee place. And I just remember feeling so grateful that I didn't have a phone at that moment. And I was like, wow, this is the number one reason you don't want to be scrolling. Like there was so many dogs going to the bathroom at that airport. I'm still kind of scarred by it, but just get another travel.
Reason. Another reason.
It was crazy.
Yeah, it's sad.
Well, and then, what gets me too is that, sometimes you'll see those people that post and they're somewhere really amazing, or it's an amazing moment, or it might be at a really nice restaurant. And as they're videoing it or taking pictures, you look and everyone in their party is on their phone. You're like, wow, I don't know. I think, Michelle, I think you're absolutely right. And I'm so glad that you brought at least to my attention with regards to taking that break. Although I don't feel like I don't feel like I'm in it, but I did notice how much my boys and I, especially sports videos, they're sports fanatics, how much, even like if we're watching sports, we're watching another video somewhere that they've gleaned. It's kind of an interesting thing. So I'm like, well, Guy, here I think I'm not on social media very much, but we're watching 5 things at once, like, complete ADD, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then there's the whole, which we could get into separately, but the whole comparison thing. I think that was the other thing too. I can speak for myself, being a business owner and always looking at like, oh, I got to do this, or why don't we have more followers, or what do we need? We need to add this to the list. It's just a constant. And I just shut that down. Like I also told one of the tips I gave, which is something I'm doing, is look at the people that you're following. Are these people making you feel good? Or are they making you feel less than? Because if I'm seeing that and I'm feeling like I don't measure up, I'm getting them off my feed. And it doesn't matter if it's, people that are super healthy and work out and you're like, oh, I'm not in shape enough, or, whatever the case may be. So I had to take inventory of the people I was following. So if you got cut, sorry.
Is that why I don't see your feed anymore?
Yeah, exactly. Sorry, Jen.
I'm too in shape.
Yeah, too in shape. I had to cut you from that.
I mean, I just looked at my usage. It's so bad. It's embarrassing. But it is 15% down from last week. Average daily. Are you ready? This can't be right. 6 hours, 18 minutes. Is that that's just terrible.
That's what I'm saying. Like I was blown away when I saw it. I was like, oh, I'm so ashamed.
It's shameful.
Okay, next quad, I want everyone to go in and research their usage and come to the table with those metrics.
Listen, I put the timer on mine, and I in full disclosure, honesty, I went on earlier because we had posted something and it said like, you're over your 15 minutes, 15-minute limit. And it was like, you could ignore the limit. And I was like, no, I'll give myself a few extra minutes, but it's actually great because now I'm reminded, like you're coming up.
I'm going to do that.
Yeah.
Big time waste.
Okay. I think we did well today, ladies. Woohoo. We got our girl back. We got, whatever the hell you got going on in your little square, Jennifer. Jesus.
They won't be here this next week. They just were temporary visitors.
Okay, good. I think we needed them. I think we needed them because especially since your first joke, it went right over our heads.
Okay, I want you all to go to the store and look for cornichon pickles. All right, and then you'll be laughing in the aisles.
Okay, I will. I call them gherkins. I think that's the slang for.
Oh, is that what they are?
Pickles.
Oh, I know what those are.
They're actually not the same, but I'll come back with more information for next.
Oh, okay.
Okay, yeah. I think you need to bring one.
Oh, okay. I think I have them in my fridge. That they do look like gherkins, but they're a little bit, they're brined differently and they're French. Okay.
Oh.
Okay.
A little bit.
They're not that tasty. I'm not going to lie, but they sure are cute on your little charcuterie platter.
They sure are.
Yeah. Okay. So this week, well, it started last week. Randy and I are on our crusade for lead up to my big birthday.
Oh.
Random acts of kindness, right, Randy?
Correct.
Do tell.
We're going to do another this week. We had quite a few DMs and people that reached out that also want to participate. So hell yes. And if you want to know what we're doing, we'll tell you. And we've got something really fun this week that we're going to do, right, Randy?
Correct.
Yeah. Yeah. And just so you know, if you didn't catch it, there's a video on our gram as we talked about how to stay off social media. That it's not easy to always be nice. We gave out flowers to people that we wanted to brighten their day, and I didn't, but Randy got rebuffed a couple times. So
I did. It was me.
yeah. So anyway, but yeah, so if you guys want to join our spreading kindness, let's go. We love it. And until next week, adios.
Adios, amigos.
Bye.
Bye.
Follow us on Instagram at She's a 10 times 5. You can click on the link in our bio to listen to all of our previous episodes, as well as check out our live video interviews over our YouTube channel. You can also find us on Apple, Spotify, iHeart, pretty much wherever else you decide to listen to your favorite podcast. Don't forget to hit subscribe.